trying to use my microphone so that it sounds clear. So, hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and that you understand what Neville is talking about, what Neville Goddard is talking about when he's talking about Thanksgiving, right? And the importance of the disciples, a disciplined mind. Why do you think that they are so important? In Neville's telling us that the entire concept of law of assumption is having disciplined thoughts. That's our imagination. That is the story we're telling. A disciplined mind, disciplining your inner conversations, changing them to tell the story you want to work out. What is faith? Right? It's not just faith that the unseen will be seen. It's faith that doesn't create reality. It's persisting in that. It is holding on to that. It's being thankful already, thankful before. If you're saying thank you, thank you, thank you for a disciplined mindset, for a thought that you have, for a story you're telling, then it must be done. That is faith. Continuing, persisting is faith. It all goes together, right? Jesus is I am forever and ever. You are I am forever and ever. It's about awareness. It's about consciousness. It's about focusing your attention. That takes discipline. He tells us you have to turn your back to the evidence of your senses. That is nothing. The 3D reality, we need to basically get discipline in the words that we're saying, in the thoughts that we're thinking. Hi, Amy. How are you? Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. I'm here and we're going to start kicking ass through this last month. We're taking December to get serious. You're going to start telling a different story. You're going to start thinking new thoughts. You're going to start understanding the teachings of Neville Goddard. Or you're going to continue to get birds and coffee. I mean, that's the bottom line. And frustrated and annoyed and not understanding and bouncing around from coach to coach and wasting your time and energy. It's time to make a choice. And it's all revealed. The scripture is basically spiritual psychology. It is reality. You have to accept that. Yeah. Well, exactly. Birds and coffee. So that's you have to get serious with yourself and ask yourself, am I happy with my returns? Right? In the Coin of Heaven lecture, Neville talks about his wife getting the message from God, the download, so to speak, the thoughts, right? Because when you are in that place where you know this is real, where you know what's happening, where you know that you're God, where you've accepted it, where you've embraced it, where you have let go of the religious aspects and you can move past that. And you know what my Father and I are one, but my Father is greater than I means. When you know that it's your awareness and what God is consciousness, but that there's a spiritual side, that there is a bigger picture, right? And that he talks about again and again in terms of life as a purpose, We're going to talk about that basically, not today, but basically that's going to be coming up soon. He's telling us that it's one of his weirder lectures where he basically is saying, think of yourself as sort of God eggs, God larva, basically. Really, he's telling you that that's what the promise is leading to. We are going to become the body of God, which is sort of like, he explains it the same way as a caterpillar, having no idea it's a caterpillar, creeping around on the earth, can't fly, this bug basically kind of thing, ultimately goes into a transformation at an appointed time, goes into a cocoon, into a transformation where, if you know anything about that, it doesn't just transform and like get wings and switch over and things grow out of what was. No, it melts itself down. It dies to itself essentially, and then it is resurrected by just going with it, by not resisting it, by not fighting it, arguing with it. And then it is a completely different form. A butterfly flying with the way it looks, its beauty, its colors, its, everything, its ability to the way it moves, its freedom. What it becomes is something completely different that the caterpillar would never know. And that is what he talks about in Life Has a Purpose. And he has been sharing that experience again and again. So God, this spiritual existence, we know as consciousness. He calls it your imagination, your awareness, which boils down to your thoughts, the story you're telling. He's telling you creation is already done. Everything has been created that ever will, right? Without God, nothing was made that would ever be made. And with God, everything was made that would ever be made, right? So essentially, what he's saying is that you're not actually creating anything. You're rearranging. You are rearranging. So to me, a simple way to describe this is to think about the alphabet. Okay. When you woke up when you had the spiritual awakening, when you woke up to persisted false assumptions. They were false assumptions. There are no facts. There's no fact. There's no such thing. There are false assumptions that were persisted in. And for a billion different reasons. But you did not get to write those meanings. In the words that are created from the dictionary, your name is a string of letters from the alphabet. So imagine that all of imagination, all of creation exists as the alphabet. The things you can do with the alphabet creates this entire world you're living in. And in our case, in an American language, it's 26 letters they're symbols. And those symbols, they are representations of a concept, right? Those letters don't actually exist. They're not a fact. They were created and they're a concept. And in order to represent the concept, we have little pictures. That is the same thing that we're doing with our minds, with our imagination. We're taking a concept and we're making a little picture to represent that. And when you accept that and when you choose that, you start understanding that it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. So then every word, right, Amy, like Amy, your name, you didn't pick it. It is just 3 random letters. Technically, it's just 3 letters, 3 concepts of a sound of a letter to create your name. There's no good letters. There's no good name. There's no bad name. There's no bad words. There's no bad letters. They're just letters. And together, then we take pieces randomly of letters, put them together, and create words. Then those words have a meaning. They label something else. So your name, Amy, represents who you are. I am Amy. That was a story that was told to you. You accepted it. You didn't pick it. You had no say in it. It's just a combination of letters. No different from my name, no different from anybody else's name. Some people love their name, some people hate their name. But behind the name is the awareness of being. Even if I changed your name right now, you still inherently know who you are. And Neville says that we keep our individual identity. We always have the awareness of being aware, of knowing I am. At the end of the day, right? He talks about it. If you had amnesia and you could not remember your name, you still would know I am. You still would know that you are existing, that you are a person. So if we think about it like taking the alphabet, and now that we're awake, there's a dictionary. And the dictionary exists. We find the dictionary and we look through the dictionary. And there's all these words. There's a whole bunch of words we know. There's a whole bunch of words you don't even know exist. The only difference between so if you think about the words that you're spelling out, that is that's a self-concept almost. That's a state. That's a choice. I am going to string together this letter, this letter, this letter, and this letter. And I am going to decide now what works for me, what I want to be called, what I want to be, what that sounds like, what words I want to put to fill my life. And he talks about it in terms of that. Like if you're looking at a page of writing, a lecture of his, the letters are all there. It's still one alphabet. Nothing is added and nothing is taken away. It's the same alphabet that is sharing his lecture. It's the same alphabet that is putting together a letter of eviction, or it is the same alphabet that is putting together a letter of acceptance into a university or a college. It is the same letter from your bank that says, is the same letters that are putting together a message from your bank that you were overdrawn, or it's the same letters that is saying, congratulations, you have, won $10 million and it's in your account. It's the same letters, just rearranged to create a story. Hi, Francesca. How are you? Hope you had a nice Thanksgiving. I'm talking about that. We're talking about Thanksgiving. We're talking about what Thanksgiving is in terms of law of assumption, how it is a disciplined mind, right? It is important. Or you had your Thanksgiving, right? See, so here's another example. In Canada, Thanksgiving is technically an American thing based on, if we were to really think about it, based on a complete and false lie, that we know is a lie, and we continue to do it anyway. We continue to do it anyway, even though it was a lie. We're celebrating technically and a genocide, an atrocity. But we just keep doing it. We have no problem with that. And then other countries have Thanksgiving. So, for instance, in Canada, she's saying in October. So it's where she lives. You should take the same letters, but based on where you happen to be when you wake up. This is the way it is. This is the way we strung these letters together. And Thanksgiving means something else, and it happens in a different month. Right? It's the same letter, it's the same idea, it's the same word, but it has different meaning. Who gave it that meaning? Francesca didn't decide, and I didn't decide. I didn't decide what American Thanksgiving was going to be, and Francesca did not decide what Canadian Thanksgiving was going to be. That never happened. Except now we're awake and we realize the only reason is because people persisted in doing that. They took the same thing that already existed in complete fullness, and everything you know has a name, has a string of letters. Those letters were put together to form a word. That word was put on top of something to form a meaning of something or some place or some movement or everything. Colors every single thing when you're speaking. That is how this works. That's how this works. It's the same exact thing. There are no good or bad letters. There are no good or bad words. If I don't know a language, if someone doesn't know the language, they don't know what the word means. They have no idea. But there's still an awareness that they're aware, that they know that they're aware. That's number one, before I start labeling anything. And that is what God is. He is the awareness that is aware of everything. By your mind, by your conversations, by what you're picking from what already exists. Yes, the celebration of gratitude and thankfulness. But I'm talking about in Neville Goddard's land, and when it comes to disciplining our mind and having gratitude, right? You have gratitude by saying thank you for things unseen. That is faith, persisting in that. I don't care if when I woke up, these letters, this story was what was created in my world, what was hardened, defective, what was pre-written, what was all sent to me, what was in the mail, what things mean, what things are labeled, what they are, what they, so anything, every meaning, from a feeling to a story to an expectation to literally, a chair, everything has been named and labeled that you touch. And if you don't know it, somebody will tell you what it is. Or you can get out a dictionary and you can look it up. And Now it will tell you, now you have a new word in your vocabulary, and it is assigned to something. What Neville is telling you, okay, is you can take that same alphabet and you can pick and choose the words, the meanings, the things that you like, that you enjoy, and you keep those. They're done. That's set. Keep them. But the things going forward that do not serve you, erase them. Refuse them. No, thank you. That does not mean that. Not where I live, not in my mind. I don't care what you're telling me. I don't care. And when we talk about programming, think about it like that. When you were a child, you didn't know what anything meant. You were told. You saw a dog, someone, you pointed to the dog, someone said dog, dog. You wanted a banana, someone said banana, banana, right? Whatever the fuck it was. Your name, your thing, everything. That is learning to speak your language. Somebody else told you because somebody else told them, somebody else told them. But language changes. We know that. As time goes on, language changes. There's words that we don't use anymore. There's words that have shifted in meaning. There's words that are offensive. The word is not offensive. There is no offensive word. There is a meaning behind it, a concept behind it, a power behind it. So I don't care what you change the words to, or what word you don't use or do use or prefer or don't. It doesn't matter. The letters themselves, the words themselves have no meaning until they have been given a meaning, written down, thrown in a dictionary, taught to you, put in your mind, so that you instantly, you don't even think about it anymore. You can look around, you could take one scan around your room, and with one scan, even without saying every word of what it is you're looking at, one scan around, and in a millisecond, I do know the word for every single thing that I can possibly see. I know the meaning that every single thing that I see has. That's programming. You don't have to reprogram by sitting there and repeating again and again and again as far as your self concept. You can simply make a choice. I'm taking these letters from the alphabet. I'm taking this word from the dictionary. That's the difference. The difference between that, when he talks about states, it's all the same I amness. It's all the same awareness. It's all the same consciousness. It's all the same. It takes the same discipline, takes the same thoughts. It takes the same persistence. It takes all of that stays the same. The difference is I'm looking at letters of an alphabet now, and I'm assuming that that's all I can create everything and anything. I can create every story. I can create a love story, a horror story, a sad story, a breakup, a romance, a marriage, a divorce. I can take the same letters of the alphabet, very same letters of the alphabet, create a marriage license as they do a divorce papers. They create a text message that says, I love you, I can't wait to see you. They create someone putting their address, your address. They create someone calling you their wife or their husband. They create the same, they have the ability to create this with the same effort, with the same amount of with the same string of what already exists, with the same alphabet, with the same letters, you can then create either or. You can create either or with the same letters. So he's saying that. He talks about like a piece of steel. The difference between a magnet and a piece of steel is the arrangement. One is completely powerless. One arrangement makes it able to pick up things and move things. Yeah, because that's exactly what it is. The thing about it is this: that is an old person. This is an example, this is an analogy, but it's an easy one to understand. A lot of people have a hard time wrapping their brain around the fact that they're God, their consciousness, their awareness. You have to accept that. So, in a way to put an analogy that sums it up, that is this same thing, is just like you were programmed to know a word, you got programmed to believe in some certain beliefs as well. And you can make a choice that that's not how it is anymore. And with that choice, we know. If you listen to Neville, I put it in these, I read very specifically the book. I know my father. I just did chapter 3. It will go up. Chapter 4 is recorded. We're moving on, and I want to interlude some of these. Good, because it means that you were so attached to the Amy. So, Amy, the fact that you were so attached, that is detachment. You shouldn't be so obsessed to this other person. They don't exist. It's like taking again, it's like just taking something from the alphabet and becoming obsessed and putting all of your power in it and thinking that is what's going to make you happy. Only these string of letters. That's it. And putting all of your obsession and all of your energy into that. When you're the one that is writing that, you're the one that is writing this story. So it's time to stop. It's time to stop with all of this. Even the law of assumption community in the social media world has taken on an entire life of its own to have words, jargon, lingo, shit, concepts that people are trying to take shortcuts here and there and here and there because they want what they want. They come in and they want it and they think, this is what I want my SP back, right? I mean, that's 99% of it. And then that becomes an assumption. And then the fact that it's a journey and it takes time and you have to reprogram and you have to do this and you have to do that. And, but hearing things thrown out at you, people cherry picked certain Neville things and said, you wouldn't want what you want if it didn't want you. You don't know what that means. Half the people talking about this shit, I know don't know what it means because I've asked them. Or we've done surveys that do you know what everyone as you push out is? Yes. How good do you feel about that? 9. Explain it. Complete fucking nonsense. There's a whole world now of jargon and lingo that makes no sense and that means nothing. So even this whole idea that you have to feel neutral, why do you have to feel neutral? Because this has been what you've been told in this community, right? It's what you've heard. It's what you've been told, and, oh, it's okay. I felt triggered. Why are we using the word triggered? Just triggered a word that helps you in any way. Is it something you want in your story? Is triggered a good word? Because does it imply something good? Were you triggered to feel fantastic? No. It was triggered by something very sad, right? Blah, 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 blah. Why was it sad? It's just letters It's just a word. Why is shit a bad word and poop is okay? Why is damn a bad word is darn is okay? Who decided that? Why is fuck a bad word? why yet is used for 8 billion things. How does one word mean everything? You can use that word to describe 8 trillion different things, and yet people will know. Where do we get off saying these couple of letters, completely all neutral, all meaning nothing until someone decides, until someone declares it? And you were asleep, so you accepted everything. You know how you have like inside jokes, or oh, my friend calls this, or blah blah blah, and you and your friend call something different, or you describe something as different, or you use your own word that you made up, or someone says, I made up this word, or right? Do we hear words like adulting, triggered adulting? We hear words like with quarantine, shelter in place, just all of these things that have come, working from home, and that's become a new sort of thing. And then it brings its own language, and it brings its own concepts, and it brings its own whole belief system. So kids who were young and saw this, they don't know this shift. Just like kids who are born now with YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff, they have no idea that anybody can just hop on. You know what I mean? It used to be like movies and television and radios, and you had to have a deal and this that, and they monopolized it. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing if it's a good thing. It's a bad thing if you are tired of just seeing everybody and anybody jumping on. If you actually feel like, oh, I've had, there was a time when I saw Gwyneth Paltrow saying something on a TikTok, like there was a time when you used to have to produce something. You used to have to be able to sing or to act or to write or to do something. Now you can be Kardashian famous. There's a saying that we know, right? You could be this, you could be that. For what? An influencer. What the fuck's an influencer? We used to want cable. They invented cable. Then they basically took cable apart, sold it into different. Now we have Netflix, this, that, and you can buy subscriptions to all different channels. If they repackage that, guess what it'll be fucking called again? Cable. And you pay one bill. Right? So it's not about good or bad. It's not about if I'm feeling neutral. These are things that you are trying to get to a place to conform to something that, because you're in this community, so to speak, and it has taken on its own parroting, its own thing. And I am guilty of it. In the beginning, because I came in and I was in a similar thing, and I jumped into something, and I looked at it at one perspective, and that made sense. And I was going by the psychology basis because that was my background, that was my viewpoint. Then I went and actually read Neville Goddard myself, and studied it and practiced it and tested it and tested it and tested it and practiced it and tested it and tested it, and in saw firsthand that it's exactly as he says. It is truth. We manifest. Our thoughts are creating. I don't care what anybody says. What you're taking is letters that already exist, and you're using them to redefine your life. And faith is by saying, I don't care what used to be here. I don't care that this letter used to say blah, blah, blah. I am rearranging the letters. I'm giving them meaning. I don't care what this word is. It doesn't serve me. No contact does not serve me to even be a thing. It doesn't serve me. So it's gone. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to see it. Why would I want that? Why would I want that? At least even when it comes to relationships, friendships, anything personal that I want. when I'm thinking about what I want. That's why Neville always says, what do you want? That's his question to everybody. It's not heal your wounds. It's not go back in time. It's not you're shitty. It's not any of that shit. It's this. What do you want? And if I were to tell you, you have it right now, rearrange the words and tell me a sentence now. Rearrange it and tell me. I'm telling you, you told me what you wanted. I wrote that out for you. Now you rearrange a sentence that tells your mind, tells your thoughts. Say back to me, how would you feel if this was this? What would you write? What would you want to hear? What would other people be saying about you, to you? If that were the case, if I gave it to you now, if I said, fine, that's it. I rearranged the letters, it's done. You want a new name, Amy? What's your new name? Just tell me your new name. So then what is the name we will call you? You have to tell me and I will create it for you, right? I will take the letters, the same alphabet that exists. You want your name to be May? Look at that. It took the same letters, didn't even have to change anything, just put them in different places. Now that's who you are. Tell me what it feels like to be May. Okay, well, first of all, I would know I would be called May. So I am May. That's my name. You could start right there. I am May. I would be May. I would know that's my name. I would be happy that it got changed. It would mean a lot to me because this is the reason I picked it is this. It makes me happy to know that. I like the sound of it. I like hearing how it sounds when people are saying that. I hear my friends saying that. I imagine people calling me. I imagine it written. I imagine the way it would look. I imagine all this stuff. I imagine all of this. I'm imagining. So what would it sound like? What is the new sentence? What are the new sentences? What are the new arrangement of the alphabet that would string together a sentence for you that would, if this were done, tell me that. And then you come up with that sentence and that's your new thought. And that's it. That's your new thought. I love that my name is it. That's Thanksgiving. That's faith. Is it going to be May? Is by tomorrow? If you went to a new town and you said, hey, my name is May, everyone on earth would believe you. People would have no reason to not believe you. Nobody would care. They'd be like, okay. Basically, that's just the way it is. Nobody cares. You are holding on to this story. You are doing it. So if you go to a different town, you went to a different state, you went to a different place, you started a new school, you don't even have to go that far. You can meet a new neighbor and you could say, I'm May. You're walking in it. You're living in it. From now on, when you leave your house, you could start telling everybody, hey, I'm May. You could go out of your way to introduce yourself to people on the street and be like, hey, it's nice to meet you. And if you just moved into the neighborhood, oh, I never saw you before. I don't care if it's someone who lives down the street, but that you don't really see very much. And you could be like, yeah, I never got to know your name. I'm May. You can start telling that's walking in the new story. Your name's not May. It hasn't been changed yet. It hasn't been officially changed. I put in to this city or whatever to have my name changed, but it didn't get done yet. It's not on my birth. If someone came to my house and factually, quote, factually wanted my birth certificate, it would say Amy. It would not say May. It would say Amy. But I'm not Amy. I don't feel like Amy. I don't resonate with that name. I don't like it. I just don't like it. You don't even have to have a reason. It just doesn't matter. That's just not what I want. It's just not what I want. And this is what I want. And this is who, in my mind, this is who May is. So what is May? What is May? Why are you going through the motion? If you didn't care, if you're thinking in your mind right now, I'm taking this somewhat literally, which it's not, it's to represent a whole concept. But let's just say you were to say, well, why would I don't really care. Like, I don't like the name May or Amy any better or worse. Okay, fine. Then that's the point. Then you won't do anything about it. Then you're in a state where you're okay. That is the feeling. What does May feel like? Why do you want to be May? What is different about May than Amy? You wouldn't want to change something if it weren't going to feel like something different to you. I wouldn't want an SP here or to be talking to me if it weren't going to feel like something to me. So I have to have a beloved. Without a beloved, there's no love. Without that is the spring form of action. We are ascending. We are here to ascend. That gets into the bigger picture too of why we're here, what God did. Once you already, if you wrote the alphabet, the way that God basically expanded was to break off, make all these people so that everybody can tell every story ever told, or write their own dictionary, so to speak, or write their own, use the alphabet to basically write every type of story, every type of experience. Once you've done that, in every language and everything, you have expanded on that string, on that the fact that everything's created and it's just sitting there in wait to be realized. And that it brings, and then when you come back, when we come back to God, so to speak, in the promise, that's where this is a spiritual practice. There is a spiritual side. It's like spiritual psychology. So if you come back, then imagine now I have experienced all of the things of within that that alphabet could create. I've experienced all of creation because if I can put it together with those letters and I can make up my own, that's the other thing. There's no end because I can make up my own. I can get rid of words I don't know, I don't want, and I can replace them with words I do. I can create a new word, just like we do in here, just like we do in life. Language evolves. We are here for evolution. We are here for to ascend. We live in the body of God. That's why if you know Neville's work, if you invest in yourself and you learn and you listen and you hear it and you read it and you reread it and you find someone who's teaching it, not promising you shortcuts, not telling you a 10,000 affirmation thing, not doing this bullshit with you. You're not shitty. You don't judge the states. He's very clear about that. It's I am in the name in a string of letters. So your choice now, you're making a friggin' choice. The choice is what is it that I want? He says it again and 1,000 times over. What do you want? Okay, I want to be May. Okay, fine. I can rearrange those letters. Amy's gone out the window. Somebody told you were Amy when you were younger. You accepted it all these years. You don't like it. I don't care why. It doesn't even matter why. You don't have to waste your time explaining why, because you're just putting your attention back on why you don't like Amy, and it's keeping Amy alive when you're trying to now become May. Why? But why? Why are you going through the trouble? Why are you introducing yourself that way? Why are you going to the city? Why are you having your name changed? Why are you having your birth certificate changed? Why are you having it done at DMV? What is driving you? What feeling? What? That's your self-concept. That's your definition of your new self-concept. I made a choice because I like this, because it reminds me of whatever. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel whatever. You know. So if right now, today, I said your May is done, and you have faith in that because you know that it's just a simple rearrangement of letters. And you forget Amy. You burn Amy. Everything is Amy. Forget it. Done. Turn your back to it. Now there's no more Amy. Now you don't go looking back for Amy. You don't go hunting for things that say Amy. You don't want to give it attention. You don't even go out of your way and cross it all out. You don't. You just start saying, you mean May, you mean May, you mean May, you mean May, you mean May. I may. You mean, that's what you mean. You mean May. You don't give any attention to Amy. You don't tell a big long story about why Amy was bad in this and that and the next thing and the next. You don't look at yourself or another as good or bad. You don't buy into it. You don't believe it. Because if I keep saying, oh, I'm so sad, all the Amy's in the world are sad, and I see you that way, and I say, yeah, that's true. Or, that's unfortunate that you're Amy. It's too bad. I'm locking you in being Amy when you don't want to be. It's the same thing. That's why you hear again and again, don't tell an old story. Amy is an old story. Even though the paperwork hasn't changed yet, your mind has changed. You have ascended. You have risen above it. You have progressed. Good, Francis. I'm really happy to hear that. You just have to accept that it's you. It's you. It's not outside of you. That's the thing. It's not outside of you. My father and I are one. We're one. We're one. We are in the body of God. We live in the body of God. It's not outside. There's no outside. Even when we say we are each God, we're a fractal of God. You're God. That's why everyone is yourself pushed out. There is one God only, right? There's only one God. There's only one alphabet. When I'm talking to you, Francesca, Amy, anybody, when I'm talking to anybody and I'm calling their name and I'm using words, it's the same alphabet that I'm using. We understand the same, we're using the same words, we're using the same meaning, we're using the same. My letters are no better than your letters, or no worse than your letters. That is, your letters are in my name, my letters are in your name, or not, but they're still just letters. They're just still words. So it's sort of like that same idea, as far as I'm still talking to an alphabet. I'm still talking to somebody who is a string of a concept that is complete and can be anything, and is just a reflection of that. It's just the same thing. It's just the same. We're the same substance. We're the same original. That's it. I don't know what other words you're going to use. I don't know if you go by a different name when you're talking to other people. I don't know if your parents call you something else. Maybe they call you Franny. Maybe your friends. Maybe this, that. Maybe you hate that. Maybe they used to. Maybe people call you by your middle name, or by maybe they call you. I don't know. I don't know. What happens to you when you're not in front of me, as far as the letters and the story that you've told me, it's what I'm used to, the stories, the kind of stories that I get. It's a genre, basically. It becomes like a genre, let's put it that way. So you represent the genre that I'm used to. If I'm used to always reading mysteries or sad romances, breakups, if I'm used to reading stories about poverty and social services and this and that, and people are broke, if that's what I have been always reading and always connecting to, and always having a reaction to it, always like assuming that's how the story's going to go, because that's what my library was. That's what the words from the dictionary, the words from, the books, the movies, the songs, if that's what filled my life, just the same way I have accepted that they're words in general, the same way I've accepted the power that they have, the same way I've accepted, the arrangement, that genre, what is going to happen to my assumptions? What do you think when I start to see things I'm going to start to unravel the mystery because our brain is a puzzle solver. So, what do you think I'm going to start to do? I'm going to start to stereotype. I'm going to start to imagine. I'm going to start to create. And I'm going to start to put you and define you that this story you're telling me is definitely going to be a heartbreaking story. That's the genre is going to be sad. It's going to be this. It's going to be that. It has to have a sad ending. It has to have this. It has to have that. That's my assumption of what those string of letters, what the story you're telling is. It's going to be my assumption because I've not disciplined my thoughts. And that has been what has been presented to me and has been in my life and has been the genre that I have been consumed with for most of my life because somebody else introduced it to me, because somebody else did it. So bring this to a 3D realm. This is not reality. Don't call it reality. Stop calling it 3D reality. It's not reality. It's a realm. This is a realm. And in this realm, we're here for expansion. And we're here because there is sensory. We have senses in this realm. And so things then need to be they need to be physical. They can't just be concepts. So just like letters, just like the idea of what a letter represents, even a letter is not necessarily a 3D thing. Until I create, I could draw it. I still can't touch it, right? I can make something of it, but I'm using words to create thoughts. I'm using the same string of letters, the same alphabet to create words. Those words mean something. I'm taking those words and I'm combining them together in a different arrangement to tell a story. And every story ever told, every item, everything, every person, every feeling, everything stems from that same exact string of the alphabet. And now you're in a world with manifesting that has its whole own now like assumptions. It has its own arrangement. I'm gonna hear persist. I'm gonna hear this. I'm gonna hear it needs to be neutral. I'm gonna hear that. I'm gonna hear this. But I don't know what it means. I'm gonna hear these things. I know I'm gonna hear them, but I don't necessarily know. I'm going to hear that it's going to take a long time. I'm going to hear that it's a process. I'm going to hear that it's a journey. I'm going to hear that it's this, it's that. I'm going to hear that I'm not persisting. I'm going to hear that I'm persisting in the wrong thing. You're going to hear these things, right? Or you're going to hear you're doing everything right. You're doing it, you're doing it the way you should be, or you don't have to do a technique. If I don't want to do that, I'm going to hear that. I'm going to find the people that are fitting into that genre. Because our subconscious mind steps into, and that is God. That is where imagination is. That is what knows everything. So it's going to be leading me. It is taking care of your entire body. It's running the whole show. It's running the whole show. Every little thing. So you are at cause. Once you realize that it's just you at cause, you are the alphabet. You are stringing together words. The difference between, that's when he says things like the difference between, a rich person and someone in poverty is the word they chose they went through the dictionary and they chose different words to put after the I am. And in those cases, it was usually put there prior to waking up. Like this was the genre we lived in. But there's others. You know that there's others. And getting a disciplined mind saying that I can't control my thoughts. I can't do that. Or I keep seeing this. I don't see any outside things. There is no outside. There's nothing to get in this realm. This is where things will fall to die. This is the land of the dead. Every single thing here is going to die. You are creating, you are imagining, you are dying to your self-concept. You are choosing a new arrangement, and you are having faith by going out and telling the world, you are May, you are May, you are May, and acting and being May in your head, because that's reality. So we have to get that concept in our mind flipped. And the more solid you get, the more you practice, the more you read, the more you learn, the more you hear, the more you listen, things will all start to make sense more and more and more and more. And you will feel such fucking clarity and sureness that you're starting to now, it doesn't even phase you what's happening around out here, because you know this is where dead shit falls for you to experience it, for you to have fun with it, for you to do what you want while you're here in this 3D realm, to play with every single word, to ascend, right? We were keyed low. We're God keyed low, meaning that we have to ascend. As we get a desire, that is movement. There's always movement. People are making up stories about where somebody is and da, da, da. Why? Is just use it in your mind. There's always movement because I'm always ascending. My mind is always getting this. I'm always understanding this. I know that I'm God. I know that this is reality. I'm believing that this is reality. I know it is. I'm living in my reality. My reality is amazing right now. That's my reality. But you're waiting for something to happen in the plop down in the land of the dead for you to then believe that it has happened. Or you're looking for signs in the land of the dead. Yes, it will be fun to play with. Yes, you will get to experience it all. Yes, you know, what we have come in, it's usually off the back of, if you were in a blissful relationship right now, you probably wouldn't even be here. But there's a reason. This is to buffer the blows. This is your purpose, to move on. It is not you, because you are God. You are the alphabet. You are Jesus. You are the I am. There's no difference. It is me playing all of the parts. It's not even to say it's God playing all the parts. It's me playing all of the parts in the play. God is in me playing all the parts in the play, because it's in my imagination. It just exists in my mind. That is the universe. When I look up and I see the universe and I think it's so fascinating. Oh, people stand by the shore and they say, look how small I feel. Really? You're imagining that. That's coming out of you. You're projecting that. And the whole world feels that that's blasphemous. Who fucking cares? They haven't woken up. And who cares? They will. No one can fail, because we know that God laid his life down on purpose, knowing damn well he can pick it back up. So he fractalized on purpose, keyed us low, dropped us down to a low ascension, lowest form, so that we could come up, create all of these things in life. Expand on everything. There wouldn't be a computer. There wouldn't be a phone. There wouldn't be any of the things you take for granted that you love to use now. You wouldn't have electricity. You wouldn't have running water, clean water. You wouldn't have these things if it were not for the expansion. You wouldn't have the news stories. You wouldn't have any of it. And it doesn't matter that we know. So there's nothing that hasn't existed. There's no expansion. There's no love stories. There's no, there's people right now who are blissfully happy. They're not in this. But you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. But that's faith. You have a strong assumption that tomorrow is going to be the same as today. You have a strong assumption that you're going to even wake up tomorrow. You have an assumption that the sun is going to rise tomorrow. There's no promises in that. That's not a law. I don't care if it's been 18 billion years. Tomorrow could be the timer could be up. And it doesn't have to happen. You don't know. So your whole life is faith-based. You get out in your car, you live in faith that you're coming home. You make plans, it's faith-based. Everything you do is faith-based. But your assumption, and it's persisted in, and the conviction is what basically keeps it moving. Right? There's no reason anything should be anything. Eventually, human bodies don't even have to die. And there are people who are trying to make that happen by using different, AI and combining ways. That's where the consciousness is at right now. That's what they're thinking. But it will lead to one thing, will lead to another, to another, to another. It's the same alphabet, creating the same words. Right? None are good or bad. It's just an arrangement. How are you arranging your words? And then when you decide to arrange them, that is what creates the thoughts that you're having, the assumptions. I assume this is going to go this way. If you catch yourself saying, yeah, someone didn't answer you, or someone did answer you, or someone was nice to you or mean to you, or whatever they were, it doesn't matter. Those are your definitions anyway. If they behaved in a way that you thought, that you said, doesn't surprise me. How did I know? I kind of thought that anyway. Every fucking time you say that, there's proof for you. There's proof. You thought it. You expected it. I knew that it was going to be this way. What a surprise that you did answer. What a surprise that you answered me that way. What a surprise that you were late. What a surprise that you weren't. What a surprise you were early. What a surprise you were so thoughtful and got this stuff for everybody. What a surprise that you brought nothing. What a surprise that this person's cheap. What a surprise that this person's generous. Right? It's sarcastic. Like, we call it intuition. Our subconscious mind already fucking knows, because we've already decided that assumption is done. And so now that's how it has to be. Those are the words that are going to show up. That's what the alphabet is going to spell out to us. All we're simply doing is rearranging it. Rearranging the same letters. If you took every word, if you recorded every word I said, and you took this recording today, and you stopped, and you edited it, and you just took each word individually, you could tell about 10,000 stories with the different words I've said. And then you can put them all out, just from the same thing. Now my initial intention or thoughts or whatever, they are meaningless, because other people didn't give me that power. They took words. They took my voice and words, using words, and they rearranged them, and they told a whole new story, and they put it out there. And the people who never saw this video, never heard anything, don't have any idea who I am or anything, see it. It could be saying the worst message to them, or it could be saying an uplifting message, or it could be saying something personal to them. It could be a lie. It could be something they think is true. It could be literally, the possibilities are endless, because I used all of creation that's already done, and I just strung together words. They could take my words and they can break the words up into pieces and combine words and create new words and just put it together and put it out there. I don't have any free will. What you do, what you're thinking, what you're hearing, the way you're arranging this is up to you in your little world. How you are taking that, how you are reading that, what you expect, what you are hearing, the way you're hearing it. How many times, right? It's like a tone. How about people who We have arguments in text, and what do they say? Well, the tone was missing, or I don't know them that well, or it sounded like, or someone is typing in a capital letters, and we say, stop yelling. Why do you have to yell? We literally take it on as if something that's capitalized is I'm being yelled at. Or it could also mean it's really funny or it's really important, or right. If I say something I think is really funny and I write capital LOL and somebody else doesn't, or they write a small LOL, then I could literally be like, you didn't think that was funny? To who? Who am I saying this to? And who's saying anything? And it's just letters on a page. And now it was my assumptions that drove this whole conversation. And on the other end, it was somebody else's assumptions that was driving the conversation. I didn't have free will in that. They don't have free will in that. I'm deciding based on what I assume, by 1,000 different things that already exist. Based on by the genre, based on the letters I'm used to, based on the words I'm used to hearing, based on what makes sense to me, based on how I feel about myself. That's why it is about self to change. If I get a text and someone just says like, talk later or something, and and that somehow feels to me cut off, or like that shouldn't be what they would say. They would say more. I gave it that meaning. They just said talk later. Said nothing else. They could be really busy. That could be an eagerness for them. They could have been nervous to type that, thinking that I don't want to talk to them again. I can give it any meaning I want. It's just words. It's just letters. It's just an arrangement. That's all it is. I'm giving the meaning. Am I giving it the meaning that they're nervous, that they think I don't want to talk to them? Am I giving them the meaning that it took a lot for them to say that? Am I giving the meaning that that was thoughtful of them to take a couple minutes because they had something they were in the middle of doing that they didn't even want to do? Maybe they were in the middle of getting waiting for a bus in the rain. Maybe they were getting yelled at by their boss. Maybe their kid was sick. Maybe. And the fact that they took the time to say that. But to me, it's not enough. Why? Who's missing something? Who's the one missing something? That's not enough. That couldn't have been good enough. That had to have meant just, I was being dismissed. Why? Why would I have an assumption I'm being dismissed? And why would I choose to continue that? So do I have to do all this healing? No. But I have to rewrite a sentence. I have to rewrite a sentence. Then what do you want? What words would feel good to you? Why? What words would feel good to you? If I know it's just an arrangement of words, and I know that they're not any better than me, there's nothing. It's just strings of words, strings of letters put together, and we're all God, and we're all going to the same place. We're all ascending, and we're all going to do it. We're all making it. God can't fail. It's done. That's like saying, if you think you can't accomplish something, if you think something is so far out there, that your desire is so far out there, I don't care how much of a crazy ass quote by human standards, long shot or pipe dream or fantasy or whatever. I don't care how crazy it seems to anybody, even to yourself. It's God telling you. It's God giving you these thoughts, these ideas, these movements, because it's time for you to ascend, to level up, to raise up. And if you think you can't do it, if you're saying this story cannot be written that way, then you are saying God didn't write the alphabet, and that God can't resurrect himself. So God's never coming back. God can't do it. You're more powerful than God. You're more powerful than the alphabet. You can't write a story with the same letters. So you're going to fail. If you were to look at God as the alphabet, can God fail? That story can be written. It can be. Just by simple, again, this is an analogy, so I'm going back and forth, but even in this 3D dead world, with what I have, that story can be written with the alphabet. Even if I have to make up new words, even if I have to cut out old words, I can create a story, and that new story is going to exist. It has to. It can be created. It can be a story that's told, and then it can be a story that's read again and again and passed around, and then it becomes a thing, just like everything else. So if I can do that, if that alphabet exists, that possibility exists. So there's no way that you can't write a story and persist in it as the I am. Jesus Christ is persistent assumption. And use that. Start leveraging things in your benefit. The whole point, the entire, what do you hear again and again and again and again and again and again and again, right? You hear again and again that an assumption, although false, will harden into fact when persisted in. Everything on this earth is a thought, was an assumption, was in something, was a thought. Thoughts are assumptions, right? That, or affirmations or whatever, they're all thoughts. It's dialogue, it's mental dialogue. So this is mental work. I'm moving mentally. I'm shifting mentally. Faith without action. What action? Mental action. New thoughts, new definitions, new arrangements, new stories, new definitions, new meanings. And I know that if they are false, I'm told, that's all I've been told, is if they're false and I persist in them, meaning if they're false in this 3D, if they don't exist in this realm, if I can't see it or touch it right now, or I do, what I see is the absence of. I'm seeing a concept. I'm seeing nobody. I'm seeing no money. I'm seeing whatever it is I'm seeing, right? It's either I'm seeing something or I'm not seeing something, but I'm still seeing something. I know what I'm told and the entire premise of this, and I've tested it and I've done the mental work and I've learned and I've listened and I understand and I level up and I affirm that and I stay true to it and I stick to it and I persist and I don't give up. And I know this is about me giving meanings to things. And I know the alphabet's already fucking created. And I know that it doesn't matter. I am awake now. I'm not bound by the rules of this realm. I'm not bound by the rules of this realm. I don't care. So there isn't a circumstance, there's not a single circumstance that can create the fact that I can't write a particular story with the alphabet. I can. So write a false story. Make it be false. Whatever is not in your life that you want to have in your life in this realm of 3D, so that you can ascend, so that you can experience all of the things. You have done enough of experiencing of the genre you're in that now basically God is pulling you to the next state by giving you these gifts, by giving you this. And your subconscious is God. It knows. It knows. So you will find a video, you will find a person, you will find a place, you will find a thing. You can ask, you can just say, take me to this, show me this. You start to get confident in it. You know, when you're choosing you and you're choosing what you love, it always works out 100%. Always, because God is love. That's the only thing that is eternal. You're the only cause. You're the only thing that exists because you're the alphabet's there. You are the one that can arrange this in any way. So to say that I cannot make that happen, I cannot create that in my mind, which is reality. I can't make up this word. I can't tell this story. It's too impossible to tell this story. It's not at all. Or else you're saying that there it doesn't the alphabet doesn't it's not complete, that it's not possible. And since that makes up every word we've ever said and everything we've ever done and every object and everything, it all fits in there. It all does. And I can create new words. I can get rid of old words that don't mean anything to me anymore. Words I don't want to hear about, words I don't care. I don't do it. And I don't do it by hating them. I don't do it by fighting with them. I don't do it by wrestling them. I don't do it by trying to dismantle them. I don't do it by going around and putting petitions out and putting that word up everywhere and putting it in circles, because what is happening? Everybody's seeing the word, seeing the word, seeing the word, seeing the word, seeing the old story, seeing the old story, seeing the old story. It keeps it alive. You don't do that. You turn your back to it. It goes away. It dies off. If I'm going to start a fucking campaign against something, even if it's just in my mind, I am constantly keeping it alive by putting it up and putting a big circle, or by fighting it, by giving it my attention, by putting my awareness on it, by focusing on it. It constantly stays a word. God constantly, instantly becomes. Listen to these couple of chapters, these YouTubes, just 1 and 2. I am and I come with the sword are 2 basic ones. There's 10 in there. The third one is done. It's gonna go up. The fourth one, we're gonna talk about this with the whole alphabet thing. There's other things to talk about in between, but your consciousness, that's it. Your awareness, and you need to detach. That's it. You're detaching from the meanings. It is just an alphabet. It's just an alphabet. It has the power to create every word and elicit every feeling. And you have the ability to do that, or you are saying that God is going to fail and his whole story is fail. Is just going to fail. It's just going to end. That's why this is a spiritual fucking awakening, but it's not religion. And people are tied to religion. We have a whole story about religion. We have a whole story about other people. We have a whole story about, judging and comparing and tones and this and that. And now we have a whole story about manifesting, whole story about law of assumption that does not come from the person who deciphered it for us most recently in a clear, concise way and spent their entire life doing it. That was his life's fucking work. And he says it again and again and again. It's repetition again and again and again. Because how many times can you say, but yet he did it. He said it every fucking constantly. These lectures say the same thing. You're God. You are creating. Your mind is reality. This is a realm. This is here for expansion. This is here for your sensory, sensory pleasure. This is here to keep you moving. You're in the body of God. There is no outside. There is no one else. There's no one to change yourself. It's yourself. Your self-concept is a choice. What do you think you are? Make that scene. What would imply that was done? Why? It's just thoughts. Thoughts will create feelings. How are you feeling something? Why do you feel bad when you think about something about your SP? Because it was a thought. You heard news. Those were words. That was a sentence, right? You, like, for instance, you said, I heard something that triggered something. So I heard something sad that triggered something in me to feel bad, blah, 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 blah. What was it that you heard? You simply heard words. Someone told you a sentence. Someone, you read something. You saw something. Your mind made a picture of it. Or you could see a picture. Your mind still makes words out of pictures. The law of reversibility is, Neville talks about it in the book of the, art, praying, the art of prayer, how to pray successfully, whatever the book is, the art of prayer. It's what makes it, right? So if I can hear sentences, I can hear a description of something and make a picture of it, I can also look at a picture and create words that go from it. If I can if I can be feeling something, if I could feel a feeling based on words, then words can create a feeling. So it's the dialogue. It's the dialogue you have running. That is the story you're telling. You are telling the story without even knowing it. And now you're going to slow down and you're going to be a conscious creator and you're going to catch yourself. And that is where the discipline comes in. And that is what it meant when we talk about the disciple of Thaddeus, who is the disciple of thanksgiving. Words, he walks around saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, Father, thank you, Father, thank you, Father. It's not a turkey, it's not a Thanksgiving, it's not a Black Friday. It's thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for the unseen. It is faith, is the belief that the unseen will become seen, but that isn't enough. It is a constant belief. It is not letting go of that belief. It is the persisting in that belief that is going to make it show up in reality. If I came up with a new word and I just said it once or twice or 3 times or 5 times or 10 times, and then I said, well, no one's catching on to this word, no one's going to catch on to this word. But if I keep saying it and saying it and saying it and saying it, pretty soon people around me are going to say it and say it and say it and say it. And then that's going to become slang. That's going to change the vernacular of everybody. How does that happen? In waves. Why do you think that happens in waves? Words that are popular in the 50s, in the 60s, in the 70s, when there wasn't YouTube, TikTok, when, all this stuff, social media for people to just do this, when there wasn't that kind of global connection. Why? Why do generations grow up the same? Why is it the same words, the same thoughts? Because it's the same fucking concept. It's the same person. It's the same. Everyone is yourself pushed out. It can only be that. So you're imagining, and everybody that's in this dream with you is going to confirm, because they can only reflect what you are putting out there, what you believe, what you are. They have to. So you don't know. You can't prove you're alive right now. You know you exist. You know that, but you don't know if you are on earth. You don't know what year it is. You don't know any of these things as factual. You don't know. And there's no way you can prove it, not even to yourself, because anybody you ask to confirm it is your creation, who's going to say to you, yes, yes. And of course it is. Yes. Because you created them. That's how this works. So who knows? All I know is that my perception and my life and my story and where I am and what I'm doing is not is different from you, but yet you're here. So I created you to be awake in this dream with me, to know the same alphabet, to be able to string together some of the same words, to have the same theories, the same concepts, the same ideas, or you wouldn't be here. If I have declared myself as someone who teaches law of assumption, I have to create students. My mind has believed it. The mere fact that people are coming, the mere fact that I have a channel, the mere fact that I get likes, the mere fact that I have followers, the mere fact that it moves up, the mere fact that it's happening, it's done, that this manifestation has made its way to 3D is the proof that I was living there in my mind, in reality already. And now it's here in this realm. I have to create people. My subconscious mind said, okay, you took on this role. I believe you. If that's what you are, then you have to have people who are going to be those who listen. If I fail, if I were to constantly doubt it and say, no one ever comes, no one wants to hear what I have to say, no one listens, people don't think I know what I'm talking about, I can't think of anything good, I'm not helping anyone, I'm not changing anyone, blah, blah, I'm not doing it, I suck. And either I won't do it, I won't even do it because I'll already give into that before I even get there, which is half the world's fucking problem. We don't follow our dreams. We don't do the things we love. We don't choose us because we think with the outside world is at cause for things when we don't know we're at cause. So this is the biggest fucking gift you have ever gotten in your fucking life. Ever. This is the gift of all gifts. Gift of all gifts. And if you are sitting here doubting or questioning or saying, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I should, I don't know, I still don't know how to believe it. I still don't know how to get through it. I still don't know how to get past it. I still don't know. I still see them on social. I can't stop myself. I can't think different thoughts. Yes, you fucking can. Yes, you can. You can. You can. It's just fucking an alphabet. Take new letters, put them into a new arrangement, make a new story, and start fucking telling it and stick to it and know that that is in your mind. You are not the exception to the fucking rule. You are not so fucking special. That's you saying, I am so fucking special that I'm useless, that I can't create shit. Yeah, I don't have the ability to do that. God made everybody else and everybody else is doing it. So if that's true, then that's a fucking story. Then you need to get over the fuck that too. So, and the way you need to do it is you need to start reading and learning and practicing and taking this and taking it seriously and accepting this gift. Because every second you are at that trial of Jesus or Barbaros, every second you are, God is on trial. You fail, the whole fucking thing fails. You fail, all of God's plan fails. It fails. Jesus didn't come to save man in a physical body form to get nailed to a cross for sins. None of that is what happened. But the scripture, the story is there. It did stay the same. It is going to unfold. It is unfolding. It's unfolding in you. Individually, it is. Jesus is your savior. Why? Because he can get you out of anything, because it's your mind, it's your thoughts, it's your creation, it's your pattern, it's your what you are taking in those words, in that alphabet, and what you are rearranging it to tell, and then just buying into it and accepting it. Then you will see, this is me sitting here right now doing this, me sitting here with clients, me sitting here building this with help with this, that is evidence that I was there already. I lived in it in my mind. And then my mind got convinced, and then it projected out. This must be who you are. Then you will notice sometimes you'll start to wobble a little bit because you do give into the 3D. You do give into that because it takes some time and some discipline. It takes some time and some discipline. And you are able to do that. And then you will get to the next level of understanding and the next level of understanding. And you will level up, level up, level up. And once you level up, you cannot level back down. You can have some days here and there, but you're going to level right the fact back up. It's not even going to make a blip. It's not. And you just decide that too. It doesn't matter. Nobody knows what I'm doing. It doesn't make a blip. It doesn't have anything to do with it. I got caught up in that. You watch me every day literally have real time revelations, real time as I'm speaking, thoughts, real time level up, because I've been saying it for years. My mind just knows it. It's just a sentence. It's just a sentence. You could do those scenes because they are easy. They're easy. It's an easy way for your mind to take it. That's why it comes with the package. That's why it comes in all his writings. That's why the people, Neville didn't make it up. This is a dream. Adam is asleep, right? This is a dream. This is a lucid dream. Now that we're awake, we are awake in the dream. That's why he talks about sleeping. That's why it's talked about constantly in the scripture. And the answer is lay there in this whole SATs thing is ridiculous that people want to like make it this whole thing. Like, I don't have to do that. If I believe this and this, they make up these ridiculous beliefs. Why? It's not nice to just think of a nice little story to tell yourself, to get into your mind. So your mind goes, oh, okay. And starts to get pressed with it, your subconscious mind will take it and believe it. That's how your everything is happening right now. It took the words, it believed the words. You've believed it. You didn't fight it. Your mother tells you a banana is a banana. You didn't tell her, no, fuck you, it's not. It's called a papaya mango. You didn't just make up a word, and combine some other words, and then decide that's it. You didn't. You did not do that because you were your subconscious was wide open at that point. You don't argue. That's why. Why do you think kids are easy? I think you can train them, lie to them, and all this stuff. How many kids this year think Santa's coming? Right? They think it. They believe it with all their heart and soul. That somebody can fly, despite all logic. Even as they start to get older, they start to hit that point where they're like, it doesn't really make sense, but they still believe it. Until finally it's like, that can't be. Because now our brain has formed. That's just a human body thing, the way the brain forms. We get to a point we get sealed in. At that point, that's it. We walk around until we had a spiritual awakening. We're going through, we're ascending, we're keyed low. We're ascending up, 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 up. You chose everything. You did. You're here to experience it all. And he tells you, you're going to come back again and again and again and again and again, but you're going to forget because you're going to go through. One of the reasons he tells you is that you have been both the, abuser and the abused. You have been rich and you've been poor. You have been, adored and you have been despised. It doesn't matter. But you're in this play. You're in it. You're in it. For better or worse. Sometimes when I get depressed, that doesn't just come from me. I don't like it. Because I always used to hope there'd be peace in nothingness. Apparently, that isn't. It's a doctrine that you either are going to live by or not. But the difference is, are you testing it? Are you testing it? That's why he says, test it. Test it. Test it. But how long do you want to spend wasting your fucking time testing on fucking coffees and, and these birds before land and shit? Like, even that is become a thing. And now people have that in their mind. And now they're focused on birds before land, bird before land, birds before land. What's that? Bird before land. I'm getting so many birds before land. There's so many signs because you still think you're creating something. You're not. It's just all you're doing is rearranging and shit and moving into a different genre. That's it. I'm tired of the love song. I'm tired of sad songs. I'm tired of breakup and romance. I'm moving over here. This land exists too. There right now is music you have never heard of that you would hate. There's a whole genre. There's all niches in life that you have no idea. There are foods you have no idea. There are people living in ways you have no idea. They don't exist as far as you're concerned. And you don't exist as far as they're concerned. And the basics are there because it's the string of the alphabet is there, even if it's in a different language, even if it's drawn differently, even if it's used to, sounds different, whatever. It's the same concept again and again and again and again and again. So it doesn't matter if you're from a different country, or if you're from whatever. Some things stay the same, right? Like the concept of love, the concept of that we, love. I mean, really, love is the main thing, right? Because it's either love or it's not, or it's there's no absence of love, but there's an awareness of the absence. There's an awareness of the absence. There's nothing more powerful because that's the only reality. That's the only thing. That's the alphabet being complete. That's the love here, the ability to create everything and anything you want. That's your ability. That's what stays forever and ever. That's what's eternal. That's what I am. That's what will be here for generations. We're speaking, right? We're communicating. And so have the first man on earth, right? God had to imagine himself in. When he talking about Adam and the rib and all that shit, it's not literal. But what it is I there's no one else to get from. If I want to create an experience, if I want to have someone with me, if I want to experience that, I have to take it from literally my own body. And God is taking from his own body of conscious and creating us. So even if I go halfway there, every time I take for myself and give it to myself, I'm giving to God, I'm giving back some to God, and God's giving back some to me. So it's gonna happen. There's no way what you want cannot happen. Just stop saying that it won't. Just stop giving attention to the fact that it won't. Just stop doing that. Stop thinking about these things that make no sense to you. The reason that it's helpful to understand Neville is because it will make it so clear to you that it will be so easy for you to go ahead and just go and get in the car. In the new video I made, it's not put up yet, but basically it will be. It's together, it's done. The thing is, if you're in a three-legged race with God and you're trying to go in one other way, but you want to get there, that if you understand his teachings, if you understand Neville Goddard's actual teachings yourself, you will have such fucking clarity that you will be ready to go. Let's go. Or if you're the driver and God's in the back seat saying to you, turn left, go here, make a U-turn, come up, go down, follow this thing. Even if it seems like it's off-road or going backwards, or why are we turning around, or I'm not familiar with this, or this doesn't even seem like a road, you will just go. You will just go. You will just go with it. And the only time then that it's going to take is literally the time from you to get there from there to there. And that is just for you to commit yourself. That's you saying yes, 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 absolutely yes. You're going with it. But if you keep stopping the car and you keep getting out and you keep checking it and you're wondering and you're calling your friend, you're saying, is this a road? And you're trying and you're listening to your map thing telling you wrong turn, not a road, do this. And you're listening to that over God, over yourself, over your thoughts. You're fighting your thoughts because you think it's not possible, because you think that somehow this alphabet is more powerful, or you can't create from within this same exact substance, that you can't just rearrange when you know you can. You can test it. You could test that right now. You could take any sentence. I did it with May. I did it with Amy and May. That's it. It's done. She's now a whole different entity who has a whole different story. That's how easy it is to test. That's how easy it is to do. It's the same idea, but it feels so much more because this is the realm, and we are creatures with senses. And so we believe that, and we didn't know this. So we spent our whole life living backwards. But there are others who are awake, and you're amongst them. So that Thanksgiving, that is what you should be Thanksgiving for every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And whatever it is that you want, having faith and changing your mindset and starting to understand that all I have to do is take the same fucking alphabet and just retell a new story. That's all it is doing. And if a story can make me feel a way, then if I can hear a story and it can create feelings in me, right? Like I can see a picture and it can create feelings in me, then I can create feelings. My feelings can create a sentence. My feelings can create a word. And if that word, whatever that sentence is, whatever that thought is, that's just what I have to think. That's my salvation out of everything. I don't care, whatever it is. And that becomes your state. That becomes who you are. That becomes your nature, right? I have to express my nature. I have no choice. So who am I? I have to express that nature. I have to. That's why the states hold the traits. I am this is in the story. The story tells itself. The person reading the story is going to get them the message. Essentially, the story is told. Like the story, it holds the things. If I come and I read the story has a nature. Is it a sad story? Is it a comedy? Is it, what genre is it? It holds the ideas. I just enter into the experience expecting that this is what it's going to be. I enter into it. That's the I amness. That is awareness. Awareness is entering in to an experience that is already pre-done, right? I know what it's going to be. It's going to express itself. It's going to express itself. I just have to read it. And so we're all the parts, right? We're the story that exists. We're the alphabet that's created. We're the ones rearranging it. We're the ones giving meaning to the words. We're the ones giving meaning to the story. We're the ones putting our attention on things. We're the I am that's stepping into that story. We're the one who's taken our thoughts that could alter that story. But if my nature is to, if I'm looking at the story itself, in theory, the story has a theme. It has a name. It's telling you something. I'm just bringing my awareness to it now, and it's going to express what it has to say. And then I go and make meaning to it. There's a difference between rejecting something, rejecting this story, saying, no, I don't, that's not what I want it to mean. That's not what I care about. That's not what I want. And creating a new one versus the story itself upon first, introduction to it, having a message, having a meaning, right? If I read a sad story, if I sit down and watch a sad movie, it'll be sad. It's going to express itself. I'm just awareness of it now. I'm just putting my awareness on it, and it's going to unfold and tell the story in and of itself. I can then say, yeah, no, I didn't like that movie. In fact, how many people do that in just general conversation, in philosophy, in songs, with literature, right? That's where things are just subjective still. With art, you could look at a piece of art and be like, that's beautiful. And I could be like, that looks like whatever. Or that reminds me of, bunch of this, or that's a sad story. And you could say, no, it's actually inspiring because, look at what they did there. Look at what they went through, and look at how they did this. Look how they overcame that. And I could be like, yeah, but the fact that they had to go through it in the first place, right? So I'm giving meaning by my assumptions, by what state I'm in. It's what am I seeing? What am I seeing when something is expressing itself? What am I seeing? And that is me too. So the story is going to express itself. I decided I am doing this, and I am a coach, that it goes really well. It had to, the fact that people followed, the fact that people joined, the fact that the group came, the fact that I felt, the fact that people are involved, the fact that people are paying for growth, the fact that these things were happening is now 3D, plopping into 3D, the evidence of that faith, that persisted in faith that I had. Absolutely. The evidence, then if I was like starting to question myself because I was looking at 3D stuff and getting caught up in things and thinking it had to be this way or that way or whatever, right? Because something's new and I'm not like settled into that state. Like I've talked about, like moving, whatever, you're there, but you still have a moment where it's like, it doesn't feel like home yet. But then you look at some other people who, like, this is what they do. They've been doing it for a very long time. Their season, this is how it is. This is how it goes. They feel that way completely and utterly naturally, and they didn't care. And then it's easier to get momentum, is easier to get going when you're in a certain direction already. Right? That's why when it rains, it pours. That's why the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because you're giving a piece of yourself away to God every time that you take from yourself. You have to create. So if you're half creating, you're taking from yourself. You're taking from yourself. You're taking from yourself. And you're giving a part of yourself away, but then you're not giving it back in a full way, because you're not ascending up. You're not embodying that. You're not doing it. So if Adam just kept taking from himself and then not believing he could create, there'd be no Eve, but there'd be lots of missing pieces of Adam, right? But if he did create Eve and then he realized every time he took a piece of himself and he was so sure, there'd be a whole slew of Eves, right? He didn't have that doubt. That's what they represent, humanity. All these people are not people. They're not people at all. This is a spiritual psychology. It is just a matter of accepting this is a mental game of life. And we know it, and the secret's out there. It's hidden in plain sight to a certain degree. But when you understand that you are literally God, there is nothing outside of you. I don't care about your sickness. I don't care about anything. You're imagining every single thing. You're imagining every single thing. And you can change your mind. You can repent. You can have that radical change of mind, and you can make that decision today. And you can look at it as nothing more insane if you need to than the fucking alphabet. Just pick a word, it's already created. And with that one string of 26 letters, you can then put together any meaning, change a word, erase words, take the dictionary, erase them, fill it back in, write your own words, give them your own meaning. You are the one who does that. And you can take only things that are in your benefit. So you want to get disciplined and walk around saying, thank you that this is done. That could be your fucking sentence. Thank you that I am May. Thank you that I am, in this a beautiful relationship. Oh, my friends have been telling me, the word has gotten back to me. Thank you that it's getting around town. Thank you that people have heard about it. Thank you that people have been congratulating me. Thank you. Those words will trigger a good feeling, just like the words of something else will trigger a bad feeling that makes you say it's sad and insist on it's sad, but I'm going to get it anyway. That's great. You will get it anyway because you're persisting. It doesn't mean anything. Dismantle those words, rebuild the sentence, write it down, write just so you don't have to script, you don't have to heal, you don't have to do anything, but just think, what do I want to hear people saying about me? Who am I? What is the trouble I'm going through? Why am I going to the city to tell them? Why am I going to stand in line at DMV? What is making me move and take action mentally? First of all, it's a calling because you're ascending. So there's that. Your subconscious knows when it's time to ascend. Every state first is desirable, and it seems like we want to get there. We want to get there. I want to have that. I want to have that. Right? Before we thought when things were outside and there were other causes, I want that car. It's going to make me feel happy. I just want to be able to drive. I want this. I want that. I want this money. I want to be able to travel. Why do you want to travel? Why do you want to go out to eat? Why do you want to have a partner? Why do you want to do these things? Why? Because why? That's an answer for you. Why? And so if I want to travel, think about it. People go and they get a passport and they have to go through the flights and they have to go through TSA and they have to sit on a plane and the plane could crash for all they know. And this could happen and that could happen. And they have to, sit next to people and it's going to be here and there and then they have to go to another an hour flight is still a half a day experience, right? You got to pack beforehand, you got to get your stuff ready, you got to run to the store, you got to get some last minute things, do this, do that, you got to make sure you have your ticket, you got to schedule time off, you got to do it. Why are people going through all that trouble? So it's the same thing. If I wasn't motivated, if I didn't want to go anywhere, if I didn't care, if that didn't matter to me, would I do any of that? No. Now just put it mentally, not physically. Mentally. Why would I do all that? I have to want it for some reason. Why? I'm ascending up. I'm ascending. People want to see stuff because they want to see the world. They want to feel like culture. They want to see things more than just outside. They want to get outside of their everyday thing. They want to see what the history, this, that, the next, whatever it is that you're doing. I don't care what. Why do you want to get another job? You got to make a resume. Maybe you take a class. Maybe you do this. Maybe you do that. What, then you got to apply to different jobs, and you have to get dressed, and you have to, wait. Maybe you're casual. Maybe you're working from home. You got to go out. You got to do this. You got to talk to people. You got to do. Why would you do that if you didn't want it? Why? So mentally, it's the same thing. So you're doing this stuff because you want it, and it's going to make you feel something. And that feeling is ascending, is taking you higher and higher and higher in awareness and awareness and awareness. And as you practice this, as you get this, you're waking up to the fact that you are God, that you are at cause, that you get to now have this buffer. That's what he calls it, this buffer. As you go through the furnaces, you want to die fast to self, not physically. Nothing about this is physical. That's why you don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to. You don't. And there aren't circumstances, because there's nothing on earth that can stop you from writing the story that's in the alphabet, other than that you have held yourself up. You've given reasons. You've assigned an outside cause. You've done that. But at all times, you have access to the same letters, and you can write any story you want. It is within itself, in and of itself, it already exists. It's just there for you to mold, for you to put out there, for you to write the sentence and put that out there. Let that be the nature. Let that be the story. And then you tell that story. It's not possible for it to be a pipe dream. It's not possible for it to not be able to be told. It's not possible, because you have the ability to even make up new words. You get to give meaning. You get to reject old meanings. You get to give new meanings, and you get to create whatever it is that you want mentally. And you have the alphabet. You've been given everything you need. And it is just you who is accepting a meaning, rejecting a meaning, being stuck in a certain like genre of stuff, that's what you assume how the story is going to go, because that's what the whole library that you have is. But you can change that in a second, and it's a simple decision. And like I said, if you can think and imagine yourself, and things can show up, then when things show up, you can think and imagine them into a different way, and then it can show up another way. You can play this ping pong game back and forth, right? The whole law of reversibility, right? If heat causes friction, then I can use friction to cause heat. That's what he's saying. It's the same idea. If I can rearrange this into something that's powerful, like a piece of steel with its, components, its elements altered, it becomes a magnet that's super powerful, that can drive a train full of people, right? Or it's just a piece of metal. This, in and of itself, that's it. So you have that ability by your arrangement, and it already exists. You have written the story. You have accepted things. If the minute you think that any single thing is happening outside of you because of something, the minute you think a medicine is making you better, I don't care if you take it. Listen, here's the thing. 3D world is what we're used to living in. We are existing in this realm. We live in this realm. We are here in this realm on purpose. We are creating all of these things on purpose for expansion, to experience them with our senses. That there is something to be said for that. That's why. There's a reason why. So yes, of course I want it, food tastes better when it's on a plate and smells and hitting all my senses, and I can taste it and chew it and feel it and touch it and share it and give it to other people and see their reaction and go out to eat and laugh over and talk over it. That is better than just in my mind. That's the point. That is the point. If God created this alphabet, that all these sensory things could be created like an architect, who draws a massive, cool roller coaster or a really cool car, but then has nothing, no way to experience it other than just an awareness of it. We know it's different. We are God. We know consciousness. We know what it's like to be it, to have it instantly. That's the realm. You have it instantly. You are God right there. People say like, "Oh, I just want it all instantly." You have it instantly. The thing is, you want to experience it in the 3D, in the sensory. So there's something to it. That's why you're here, and you get the ability to create it all, to experience it all. And then that is your salvation to get you out of any situation you don't want to be in and to keep you ascending up and to keep you seeing things in a better and better and better and better light. How can I judge you? How could I blame you? How could I look at you? How could I be mad? How could I hate you? How could I hold you this way? How could I do that when I'm doing that to myself? Because then who's going to experience that? Me. Me. If I believe in this, all this ugly stuff, if I believe in this, if I focus on it, if I think about it, who's being hurt? Me, mentally. I'm in hell, right? Devil is just doubt. That's why he says, I'm going to do that next too, where he's talking about it and he's talking about the devil. And he says, Jesus says, "Get ye behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me. I'm heading toward the cross. I want to fucking die to this state. I don't want to think this way anymore. I don't want to be in this hell. I don't want to be trapped in this prison. I don't want to be in no contact. I don't want to be over unhealthy. I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be these things. Get the fuck behind me, doubt. I'm going to the cross because I'm going to rearrange these letters. I'm going to make this say something that I want it to say because I don't care that because I woke up and somebody else defined all this shit I didn't get to. And now I'm awake. So get the fuck behind me. I'm going to the cross so I can nail myself to a new thought. I'm going to rearrange this and I'm going to read that to myself. That same sentence in my mind, my thoughts again and again and again are going to say that enough fucking times until my subconscious mind just says, okay, that must be who you are. And so I believe it now. Here you go. If that's who you are, then you need this. If I am somebody who is a law of assumption coach, I need to have law of assumption clients. I need to have people that want to hear it, want to learn. So then they'll show up. I don't care if it's one, I don't care if it's two. It's in my mind. You persist, you persist, you persist. You're persisting in what's in my mind. That's what you're persisting in. I'm persisting in this is how I have rewritten it, and I don't care. I don't care. And those words that you're using that used to hold me up, I reject them. I never created them. I never came up with them. You told them to me. You named me. You told me them. You told me what they were. You told me how much you were. You told me that you told me your story that somebody else told you, that somebody else told you, that somebody else told you. I don't care anymore. I don't. I really don't. So I'm now making up my own story from the same letters. I'm not even doing anything different. I'm taking the same fucking substance and I am creating it. I'm telling a different story and I'm doing it in my mind. And that is reality. So in my mind, if that's reality and that's done, that's done. But where do you get that? Where do you get that gumption? Where do you get that conviction? Where do you get that faith? Where do you get that fortitude? Where do you get that ability to go through that? Because we know we know what your thoughts are. You're naked all the time. You are naked, you're walking around naked all the fucking time. I can look at your world and I know what you think. I know what you believe. I know. And I'm no different. Nobody's different. I don't care how off they seem this way, they seem that way. If I'm in their life and I know and I see what they're doing, I know what the story is. But guess what? Whose fucking story is it? It's my story. It always comes back to me because I'm the potter and I'm the clay. I'm God all the time. So that's why this can get really fucking confusing. Because it's like, I know your truth. No, I know. Guess whose truth I know? I know my truth. I know what I'm assuming, what I'm believing, what I'm looking at, what I am deciding. I know that in this universe that is me and mine, that God gave me with all these words and all these things and the way I put them together and the way that I string them together, I know that what I'm actually seeing is not you, because you are a fractal in and of yourself. You are creating your own thing. You are doing your own thing, but you don't, in my world, you don't even exist. I'm talking right now to who? Who am I talking to? I have no idea. I don't know. Nobody. I'm talking to myself. I live in imagination, and then I imagined it enough that it started to become. It showed up in the universe, projected it out. So now there's this image of it, and now I'm interacting with this image of it, and it's going to go the way I want it to go. It's going to go the way I want it to go. But where you are assuming in your life, you're the operant power. You're assuming you're doing the same thing. You can look around your life and what you think about certain people, and the people that come your way have to match up. It has to. It has to. You can give new meaning. You can. You don't have to, you don't compare yourself. It doesn't matter what anybody else is saying, asking other people their affirmations, asking other people what they felt like, asking other people this. There is no other people. You're asking yourself, decide. You decide. Make decisions. That's why hear Neville every single time. And I'm going to end it on this. What do you want? Don't tell me anything else. What do you want? That's what he says. Tell me what you want. And then you fucking make a little scene, a little dialogue. A picture is how our subconscious mind processes things. So a picture can create words, and words can create a picture. Works the same way. So you're telling yourself your thoughts that you're thinking are going to create a picture. That picture is going to be projected out. That's what you have to know. It's all from the same alphabet. Write a new fucking story. Tell a new tale to create a new picture, to get it pushed out into this fake realm. It's a realm. This is reality. So what do you want? Name your self-concept. It's a choice.